You feel it, don't you? Like the world has shifted half a step off its rails. People keep doing the same things, saying the same words, chasing the same rewards, but the spark is gone. The rhythm is broken. Everything still looks the same, but something deep underneath has stopped working. And it's not out there. It's in the fabric of reality itself. The old world is cracking. You can hear it if you're awake. Everything that once felt solid is turning to dust between your fingers. The ones still asleep cling to the familiar, holding onto the past like a piece of driftwood in a collapsing sea. But you've started to see it differently. The ship isn't sinking. It's simply reached the end of its map. The waters ahead are new. The old way of living was built on control, on fear, repetition, and pretending to know what's going on. People learned to survive by repeating what used to work, even when it stopped working long ago. That's why everything feels so heavy now. The rules expired, but most are still playing by them. Reality has this strange compassion. It doesn't destroy what's ready to change. It just starts rearranging. The job falls apart. The relationship fades. The meaning you built your identity on suddenly dissolves. It's not punishment. It's an invitation. An invitation to finally stop fighting the current. Because transformation never begins with comfort. It begins when the ground gives way, when the story collapses, when you realize you were never standing on solid earth to begin with. Everything you thought was stable was only a bridge made of belief, and now that bridge is shaking. You might think you're losing things, but you're actually being released. Released from what no longer fits the new frequency of your own awareness. Old desires are fading because they belong to a version of you that no longer exists. You're not breaking, you're being rebuilt. 3 days from now, that phrase isn't about the calendar. It's not a date, it's a cycle, a pulse. Day 1 is collapse. Day 2 is silence. Day 3 is clarity. You're in the middle of that cycle right now, watching your old reflection dissolve so the new one can appear. Every coincidence you've seen lately, that message, that person, that strange timing, none of it is random. Reality speaks in symbols when logic is no longer enough. It guides you through what your mind can't decode. The moment you start noticing, the world stops being background and starts being a dialogue. You didn't find this message, it found you. Because something in you is already awake enough to hear it. The rest, it's just catching up. So let the old fall away. Don't patch the cracks. Don't paint over the collapse. You're not supposed to rebuild the same structure. You're supposed to walk out of it. The doorway is open, and you already stepped through. By the way, our shared space of light and awareness is on its way to 100,000 people. Thank you to everyone who subscribes and brings this moment closer. The new reality doesn't arrive with thunder. It slides in quietly through small moments. The way you look at things, the way time feels different, the way silence suddenly carries weight. At first, you think nothing's changed. Then you realize everything has, because reality was never out there. It's not a stage you stand on. It's a mirror that bends to the shape of your awareness. Every thought, every decision, every subtle act of attention creates ripples across that mirror. You've done it your whole life without noticing, but now you're starting to see it. When the old world collapses, what's really ending is the unconscious agreement about how things work. The old rules, chase, compete, prove, no longer fit the rhythm of what's awakening inside you. The moment you stop believing in the struggle stops existing. That's not magic. That's physics of consciousness. You were taught that power means control. It doesn't. Real power is alignment. When your inner state matches the pattern of truth. When you stop fighting what is, reality stops fighting you back. Think of consciousness like breath. When you breathe in fear, your world contracts. When you breathe in trust, everything expands. The world responds not to your words, but to your tone. The vibration behind what you mean. You can't fake that. The universe doesn't listen to noise. It listens to coherence. The architecture of reality is simple. Awareness builds form. The clearer the awareness, the cleaner the form. That's why the old structures are falling apart. They were built on confusion. They can't stand under the new light. What's happening now isn't chaos. It's recalibration. The blueprint is being redrawn from within. And yes, it feels strange. You might notice time behaving differently, as if events rearrange themselves to match your readiness. That's not imagination. That's reality resynchronizing around your state. When you become more present, time bends toward you. You begin to meet people at the perfect moment, see words that seem written for you, experience loops that lead exactly where you were meant to arrive. Coincidence? Only if you still believe in separation. 3 days from now, it's not prophecy, it's a cycle of awakening. Day 1, the structure collapses. Day 2, the silence expands. Day 3, you begin to see the pattern, not as chaos, but as choreography. You realize it was never random. Every twist, every delay, every heartbreak was perfectly placed. The architecture was always there. You just weren't ready to look. The new reality doesn't reward effort. It responds to resonance. When you stop pushing and start listening, it begins to flow through you. You move from forcing to allowing, from surviving to creating, from reacting to remembering. And then everything starts to align. Not because you manifested it, but because you finally stopped resisting it. You became transparent enough for truth to move through. You became still enough for reality to reorganize itself around what's real. That's what entering the new world means. Not escaping this one, but seeing it without distortion. It's the same landscape, but lit from a different sun. The same life, but lived awake. Stay here for a moment. Feel it. That subtle shift in your chest. That's reality adjusting its reflection. That's the blueprint rewriting itself in your presence. At first, awakening feels like loss. You look around and realize the stories you lived inside have stopped breathing. People still talk the same way, repeat the same phrases, chase the same illusions. But you can't go back. You can't unknow what you've seen. The mirror turned, and now you see yourself in everything. That's what the collapse was for. To strip away the noise so you could finally hear the quiet pulse beneath it all. The truth doesn't arrive with fanfare. It comes as stillness. A pause. A breath that doesn't rush anywhere. And in that breath, everything rearranges itself. You start noticing how reality answers. Not with words, but with reflection. Every person who appears, every delay, every unexpected turn, it's all communication. The universe doesn't speak English, it speaks resonance. It answers you with matching frequencies. When you act from fear, it echoes fear. When you act from presence, it opens the path. That's why everything suddenly feels faster now. The space between thought and consequence is shrinking. the delay is gone. You think, you feel, you see, and the world responds almost instantly. It's not new magic, it's just you, aligned enough to notice how it's always worked. Reality is not testing you, it's calibrating to your awareness. The moment you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this showing me? The whole script changes. You stop being the victim of your timeline and become the author of it. This is the real transformation, not mystical, but mechanical, in the most organic way. Consciousness rearranges matter. Attention creates gravity. The things you stop feeding fall away. The things you bless grow stronger. And the more you remember this, the more fluent you become in the language of existence. 3 days from now, maybe it's already here, because 3 days was never about time. It was the distance between forgetting and remembering, between fighting the current and realizing you are the current, between asking for signs and understanding you are the sign. So this is how it ends, or begins. Not with explosions or prophecy, but with the quiet knowing that nothing was ever against you, that every fall, every loss, every coincidence was reality guiding you home. You were never waiting for the world to change. It was waiting for you to see. Now it sees through you. It breathes with you. It answers instantly to the tone of your presence, and you understand. This message didn't find you by accident. It found you because you were finally ready to hear it. If this video changed something in you, write in the comments, I enter the new. Write it as your promise. Nobody,